in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house. Oh yeah. Let's get some noise in this house.
And they know that they not like us. We ain't gon' do it. The only thing that can stop me is me. If you're doing this for the women you losing, do this shit for yourself. I do this shit for myself.
My style is the bomb, daddy bomb, bomb, bomb.
Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Daily Profiler Statistician.
Mr. Daily Profiler Statman.
While others guess where the market might go, you crunch the numbers, projecting highs and lows with surgical precision.
The high of day, low of day, you've got them dialed in.
London Open, you've measured it New York over under. You've tested it Asia range. You've logged every tick since 2018.
No lagging indicators for this guy.
Only you can say Based on the last 47 days, there's a 63% chance the high of the day forms before 11 a.m.
Probability never sounded so small.
So crack open a cold one, because trading isn't luck, it's statistics and a really big spreadsheet.
It's Mr. Daily Profiler Statman.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mickey, tell everybody what the heck's happening today.
All right.
In addition to just this stream.
All right. So today, and I'm glad you said that because I want to do like a very thorough, detailed explanation of what we do in the Bootcamp and what we do in the Pack Trade Group and where you can find that information at. But today is graduation day, right? And so who graduated? I'm going to share my screen. And if you let me do it, there you go. So we start this last class with 130 some people, right? And they went through 3 months. That's not what you want to see. But basically, we're going to come over to the dailyprofile.com, go to the bootcamp, right? And then this is what they kind of learned how to do, right? So it was 3 months, right? We spend, and if you're curious about what we teach, you can just click down here, right, for each week, and it's got the framework of what we teach. But they made it through phase 1, which we like to call learning how to read a live market, and then learning how to incorporate statistics into your read of the live intraday market, right? Knowing how to make decisions off of probabilities and not predictions or forecasting or theory or anything other than this is the black and white. This is what the probabilities are saying, right? And now I can make a decision and manage my risk around that, right? So they use different products like what you see us use all the time, Candle Science, right here, right, where it is designed for open, high, low, close probabilities, whether you do it from the daily, the hour, the 12-hour, the monthly, the weekly, whatever. You're using so many candle look back and with the actions and the if-then statements of the previous candles to give you probabilities of the candle you're currently on. So this is your open, high, low, close probability. And then using, the daily profile, which you guys see us use all the time on these live streams, to say the session did this session did this. Now, what are the probabilities of the session I'm currently in? So that's what they learn in phase 1. They learn about volatility. They learn, and then we go into like phase 2, where it's like, cool, we know how to tailor our decision making to the non-linear market, the market that's multidimensional, right? That has over 25,000 possible wiggles on and like now we can say this is the black and white evidence, and how do I want to decision make, and like where should I make decisions? So people always get this misconception, to be a good trader you have to be making decisions all the time, and you're always going long, and then you're going short, and then you're going long, and blah blah blah. No, like that's not the characteristics of a good trader. Actually, the less decision making, the better. But knowing where and when to make those decisions, that's what we talked about in phase 1. Now, phase 2, right? You see it all the time on Twitter. Everywhere you go, people have the magic holy grail strategy, right? If you do this, it will lead to the booty, right? Like the chest of gold, right? Like you're going to be, set for life. Well, in phase 2, we debunk all of that, right? So we use about 16 strategies from an intraday standpoint, and we start learning about the risk profile, and then learning how to measure moves, and we debunk, and I force you guys to do the exercise so you can see it with your own eyes, and you don't have to trust me, bro. Concept, but like you see it with your own eyes that there's not all this edge just laying around intraday like everybody tries to convince you that has a good marketing scheme going for them. And so you learn how to take a measured move and how to build a risk profile, and you sync those two together. And then third phase, so we do that. And then the third phase is learning how to build your trade plan and how to make it. We know that 90% of your trades will be done behind closed doors without anybody knowing that you're taking the trade other than you and yourself, right? So it's important for you to build a trade plan, not to replicate what I'm doing, what Austin doing, what your friends doing, but something that you can have an aha moment behind, right? Because, right, at the end of the day, what keeps you disciplined in that strategy, right, is and consistent in that strategy is knowing the numbers, the objective facts, and the probabilities behind it, right? So when you're going through those consecutive loss periods and those max drawdown periods, right, you already understand that that is the normal, not the abnormal, and you can stay disciplined to it. Where most younger traders, like they lose 3 times in a row, or they over leverage and they lose, and they say this strategy is not worth a damn, and they kick to the curb and they jump from that Discord room to the next Discord room. The whole purpose of the phase 3 portion is to work with your team and your ranger buddies to build a plan that you can stay disciplined to, that you've already proven works, to get to the point where you can compound some actual alpha out of this, or money cash flow out of this market. But so this class finished that up today. We got our last wolf tank presentation this morning. And like it was a phenomenal way to end the boot camp. And so graduation will be in our Discord at 1500 today. So if you're interested in attending that, it's open to the public, and you can kind of get a behind the scenes what the end looks like. So if you do decide to join, it is $100 for 3 months, right? You get access to a journaling system, where you can build your business plan, journal your trades, see your full trade history, analytic and reporting, that kind of stuff. You get access to the daily profile, you get access to the candle science, you get access to all the indicators that we use, and then you get access to, when do we do it, right? And now I'm going to pass it off to Austin, because he will cover what the pack trade group does, and like the schedule that the pack operates off of.
Yeah, man. You want to, since you're already on the screen there, you want to go to the tab and we'll just talk over it. There you go. All right. And then I will also add this little thing right here. You caught me.
What?
Caught me with my pants down, Mick.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Sorry, guys. I was trying to upload this, and Restream just kept rejecting it for some reason. There we go. All right, guys. Yeah. So once you guys join the pack or the boot camp, again, just to give you all context on why we did the boot camp and why we structured it the way we structured it, is when I first started the pack trade group, one of the biggest issues I had was people would join the live sessions, learn how we trade, all that stuff, but it would still be not as structured as I want. Then when naturally Mickey and I met and we chose to partner up, it was like this amazing symbiotic relationship where he has the structure, he has the background of teaching already, and also the background of statistics with his degree. And so it kind of just made this really, really easy transition where we chose to partner up, and the daily profiler, with the tools that he created in the boot camp, is a way that we can formally get people into the pack trade group, and also ethically, because now you guys have every ounce of information we use every single day when we trade, and you understand the context of why we take the trades that we do, why we're analyzing the way that we do. And so if you can scroll up a little bit, Mickey, or down, or right there. Yeah. So the main thing that we do right here is we live trade every day. So we actually have 2 pack members, and every live trader that is within the pack is all came from the pack. It's not like we hire outside people to come in and just trade or anything like that. Every live trader that is responsible for their session, they have been trained within the pack trade group. They went through the boot camp. They have experience in the pack, and there's the pack traders right there. So we actually have 2 pack members that are in trial right now for Asia. So temporary, like right now we have Asia sessions, but then it won't be fully in effect until next quarter. So they go through a trial period to show that they can be consistent, stay consistent at the sessions, and also with exactly how they're trading. And then we have London session with Bowie there on the top left. Then we move into the pre-New York session. So around, we call it magic hour, 6 a.m. to 8:30 with Miguel, Drez, and Carl. And then Miguel actually hops around depending on the day of the week from Magic Hour to then Jesse and Cody's session with the late New York. But then after Magic Hour, we move into the main New York session, which is myself and Mick. And then after we trade live for New York, around 10:30 to noon is when Jesse and Cody come on. And then sometimes, depending on the day of the week, Miguel there in the left. And that is the pack traders. That is the people that make up all the live sessions. And then I have a little infographic here just to show you guys just a general overview of, the main benefits of the pack trade group and what it's all about. So the first one is once you graduate the boot camp, to maintain access of the tools, so the daily profiler, candle science, the trading view indicators, the journaling software, anything we launch in the future, we're never going to be like, oh, okay, we're adding a new tool, now you got to pay us more. No, it's just you're grandfathered into any future launches we do. And then the second one is live trade sessions. So just explain that with all the different sessions. The third one, and this one's honestly my most favorite, because I come from a real estate background where I came from a real estate mastermind, and it was like such a transformative piece in my and just meeting people, networking and learning more. And it's a mastermind community. We all speak the same language. Okay. We're not a Discord group where this person's trading this way, this person's trading this way, and it's all confusion, right? Everybody's trying to say their way is best, or this way. You get really confused. So we all speak the same language. We're rooted in objectivity with statistics, and we all use plus or minus the same tools. And then the fourth thing, this is the additional thing we're adding this year in 2026. So when you guys graduate the boot camp, when you fully get done with the boot camp, the last part of phase 3, you do what's called a wolf tank. And it's kind of our play on words with Shark Tank, where the students that want to, okay, it's not forced upon them, but I'm actually really glad we're seeing these past couple classes do this. They come up and brief their trade plans. And so then once they brief their trade plans, we understand that it's going to be dynamic. It's going to change. Okay. There's going to be refinements. And so when they transfer over into the pack trade group in about a month, 2 months down the line, we're doing what's called pack sergeant's time training, where we're following up with their trade plan and seeing what they've added, what they've taken away. And then now what feedback can they get to get a little bit across the edge. So it's a lot more technical. So it's just basically an accountability event from when they brief the trade plan. And then number 5 is early war games. So I come in around 7:50 to 8 a.m. every morning, and I do my analysis, my trade ideas, and then I post it on Twitter about 8:15-ish. And then Mickey comes on and goes live at 8:30. So it's like an early sneak peek on what we're seeing with the war game for the day for NASDAQ. Number 6 and number 7, this is just lockout and war game accountability. So there's 2 channels, one for everybody at the end of the day when they're fully done. They can lock themselves out in the channel, not lock themselves out of their account, but saying, hey guys, this is what I did for the day, sharing my executions, P&L, whatever you want and feel comfortable with. And then the war game part, anybody that wants to do this. What's up?
One thing I want to add to that accountability, right?
Yeah.
Like, is like going through the boot camp, you'll get assigned a ranger buddy, 2 to 3 people that know exactly what you are supposed to do and how you are supposed to do it. And you talk every day, right? So like, not only do we have the lockout feature, but it's also, you have alerts in your journaling system that will tell you when you're breaking your rules, when you're degenerate trading. So you can't sit there and say you didn't know what you were doing or blame it on whatever. But you also have, so you have technology, you have message systems, and then you have that personal one-on-one from your ranger buddy that you should be briefing every single day. What trade, right click, show executions, explain why you took that trade, right? And so like we found that like when I worked investment banking, right, we found like we had risk managers, everything was hedged. We had fire drills for any mistakes, right? And the one thing I noticed in retail trading is you have none of this. You are everything. You're the person that is the risk manager, you're the trader, you're everything. So we're trying to fulfill some of those steps that will keep you from falling and keep you within the left and right limits of success, you know? So that's what you definitely an added benefit there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's a different type of confidence you get when you can have a few people that resonate exactly with what you do. And then every single day, it's just over time, it becomes like this machine versus something like a chore. It's kind of uncomfortable at first, but over time, it's just like a business, Like, hey, this is my accounting. And then the final benefit to the pack trade group is just the workshops. We do workshops all the time. We do back test sessions, training sessions, recaps sessions. We do just anything, just all kinds of different little sessions here and there where we can fill the gaps anytime the community requests, hey, can we do this? Yep, we do it. So that is the pack trade group and what we're about. There's the schedule. You can see the schedule on Mickey's screen right here. 3 a.m. we start with London. 5:30 we do boot camp lectures. 6:30 to 8:20 is magic hour. 8:20 to 10:30 is us, Mickey and myself. 10:30 to noon is the Cody. We call it the ambiguous hour, Cody and PTFX. Noon to 2. This is for the boot camp side when we do have like we're about to start a new boot camp tomorrow. So noon to 2. We're calling it a tutor session with Justin and Danny. And then live re-engineering session at the end of the day, 4 p.m.
And the one thing I want to brief on that you didn't hit, like we do the statistics, but we are not designed to just be statistical based traders. As you can see, we use volume,
100%.
market structure. Like we have a lot of ICT based traders. We have support and resistance traders and supply and demand zones. We have auction theory traders, right? And all you're doing is taking that aha moment that you've connected with, that strategy that you connected with, and showing you how to adapt and actually put probabilities behind these things that never have had probabilities on them before, right? So we've got that. So if you would like to join the graduation ceremony, you come to the homepage, right? Join us on Discord, click on that, and then you will see us at 1500, which is 3 p.m. Eastern time for those that don't take real time. It'll be inside of this Discord right here. So that's how you click on it. If you're interested in joining, right? And of course, this is the one time that annoying feature doesn't pop up, right? Where is it? Enlist in the boot camp today. Yeah, enlist in the boot camp. And usually there's a thing. And like I said, we're not here to take your money. It's $100 for 3 months. And that's enough to provide paying the devs, paying the hosting, paying all the stuff that runs this technology and going from there. So, yep, that's it. Let's go. I think we'll get this stuff to wargame, right?
Yeah.
All right. I figured I'd start since it's all my strange. So starting with candle science, right? We see that we're stuck inside the NFP Friday's range, right? So we can't make a decision of 70%.
Oh, Mickey, before you get started. Sorry. I forgot to mention this. I'm a terrible marketer. All right. Every stream we do, Monday and Friday, the major streams that we do. All right. If we get 150 live viewers, that'll trigger me to do an $80 giveaway every single time. If we hit 150 viewers every single time, dude, $80. But this is a goal that I want to achieve. And so I want you guys to help me do it. So the pinned message is in the chat. All you got to do, it just links you to the tweet. Okay. To be entered in if we do get to 150 viewers. And this also helps us get to 150 viewers. So it's like a win-win. Just like and retweet the tweet. All right. Sorry.
All right. Let's get after it. All right. So moving on. All right. So starting on with our war game, right? We know that when we are above NFP Friday previous month 50% statistically, stats, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Stats show us that since 1956 using the SPY, the SPX ETF, and if you want to do it with the futures, you can, that you get approximately 70% green days, 30% red days. When you're below that, NFP Friday and previous month 50%, you get a 50 green, 50 red mix. And then when you're stuck in between, like we are right now, you get volatility starting to expand, and then you get 50% red, 50% green. So we know that right now we don't have the edge of, expecting more green days than red days. And how does that help us from an intraday standpoint? Well, when you get lower the days, like we kind of have right now, where it's 18 to 1900, 03 to 04, or 9:30 to 10:30, you expect those low of the days to happen during those times, and for us to close higher, right? Because that's how a green candle works on the daily chart, right? So now we're going to take what happened yesterday on Thursday and what happened on Wednesday, and we're going to see, is there any edge on this daily high and this daily low that is just smack you in the face saying like, yes, there's edge. We're going to take out this high over this low, or the probabilities are more leaning towards this high versus this low. So we're going to come over to candle science, which I have pulled up, and we're going to reset all filters. right? We're going to make sure NASDAQ selected, right? Not one of these other indices. We're going to go to the daily time frame, not any of these other time frames, right? We're going to make sure we do a 3 candle look back, not a 6, right? Because that's just the flow that I do. And then, so we saw that Wednesday was a red day and yesterday was a green day. We saw that yesterday we take out the previous day high, right? So right now we see that the probabilities of us taking out the previous day high is 73. Well, we can look at it like this, right? So because if it's green, it's up. If it's red, it's bad, right? I mean, it's down below, right? So green meaning there's a 73% probability that we take out previous day high, but there's a 59% probability that we close below it. So almost a 60%. So green meaning above, there's a 79% probability that we do not take out the previous day low, and there's a 90% probability that we close above that, right? Now, one action happened yesterday that kind of shifted those probabilities. Like, yeah, that'd be cool to come in here and we can see clear as day with the data that, 73 versus the low, which is 21, that's almost a 50 handle spread. That's really smack you in the face edge. However, there's a feature, and we did something very specific yesterday that's going to decrease those probabilities. We closed below the high, below the open, and above the close, right? So we closed inside in the lower portion of the body. So we want to see how that impacts it, right? We're going to say that we closed below the open, right? So now we started off with 3,773 days. We know that just based off of this signature right here, Wednesday doing this and Thursday doing this, we have 462 left, right? So now we want to incorporate that close because we know that that's a dominant close. Like we can't just ignore, like Austin says it best, like these wicks is we don't care who controls the market or how the pricing algo works. We just know that there's signatures that say, hey, somebody obvious stepped in and made price go down, right? Whether it's an algo or whether it's people, who cares? Like that's cool bar information of who does that, but that doesn't help our trading. So we want to capture that this was a forceful close down, right? So we're going to come and we're going to say, oh, look at that. C2 close in below the opening price of C1 has only happened 13% of that 462. So we're going to select that because that's what happened, right? And we're going to go back to our probabilities. Arnie, I'm going to reset this real quick because it's glitching on me. All right, let me set it up there. All right, let's try this again. Bear, bull, take out previous day high. All right, so now we're going to come back in. Take out the high. I'm going to close this out altogether. This is a high time frame that everybody's on the site. So I'm going to just try again. And then if not, I'll just show you the probabilities. Maybe it's my internet that's glitching out. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you good, man.
All right.
But listen, I never have internet issues, so no
Until you
excuses.
go
I
live.
don't know. You need to fix this, bro.
Yeah.
You never
This
see
is
me have these issues.
This is Murphy's Law playing out, right? Because I'm trying to do it public. So we're going to start with 3,773 days. We're going to put what Wednesday and Thursday did. We took out the high, right? Giving us a 73. And then we're going to close below the 13. Boom. Right. So now we see that 73 completely dropped 30%. It's now at a 49% probability of taking out the high. Right. And the low actually has a 47. So now we see there's only a 2% edge. So there's no real edge. Like most days, there's edge one direction. Today, there's absolutely no edge whether the low or the high gets taken out from candle science. Now, we don't sit here and press buttons until we can force our edge because that's not real edge, right? That's just you about to blow your account, right? So we accept that, right? Okay, daily candle is not giving us edge whatsoever. So now, and we're going to move away from this and we're going to go to the daily profile, which is using sessions, Asia, London, New York 1, New York 2, to find edge, right? To see if this will give us, paint the picture and the story to us a little bit, right? So we can see that Asia, they bought it up. so bullish. London, they bought it up, so bullish. So we have trending markets upwards, right? So now we're going to say, hey, database, when we have trending markets upwards, what does that mean? Right, so we're long true, short false broken, which is the characteristics of Asia and London. And we're going to see, we're going to start with the low of the day. Is that 1800 got dominant low of the day data? And we can see right here that it does. 1800 to 1830 has like the mode, like the most occurrent right here is showing us that, hey, that 1800 low of the day might be the low of the day. We know that there's another low of the day that sticks out right here, and we know that the median for the low of the day is from 1030 to 1045. So this is where the live price component comes in. You got to be able to read it. And then looking at the high of the day, right, which currently is at 615, we can see that there's 5% of the data made the high of the day at 615, and that would be for the short true scenario. So we can see that we can still expect a new high of the day because we added up all these percentages, 5, 5, 2, 2, whatever. If we added it up, it would be a lot more than what happened overnight. So now we know that there's a possibility that we have made the low of the day. That's where the highest probability is. And there's a probability that we still need a new high of day, right? And then, so we know that that's standing out. Now we have this target. We have different targets that we can see, all right? Well, if we know that this is the low of the day, and this is not the high of the day statistically, right? If we need to come back into this range, where are some high probability targets that we can pull probabilities from? So this P12 mid is one that we can put probabilities. Settlement is always one. So we can go settlement, Globex, and Asia OU. Right now, we want to see which one of these stands out and kind of the order of merit of, or the sequence that they have from a probability standpoint. So let's start with Asia OU because we're on this string. So we see that Asia OU has an 85% probability of being broken based off of just what Asia and London did. And we can see that majority of that 85% of the time has happened, right, between 2:30 in the morning and 3:45. So we've already skipped that period of time. So now the next highest likelihood of that getting hit is between 9:30 and 10:15. So we're going to come over to Asia OU and we're going to say 85% between 9:30 to 10:15. Right? And we know that that's what that probability is. Now we're going to go measure P12 mid, Globex open, and settlement and see if that has added probabilities for our decision making. Right? So we can see that P12 mid also, let me make this big so you can see, also has an 85% probability of getting hit. And its primary time of getting hit is between 11:15 to 11:30, which is very unique. Right? So 11:15 to 11:30, right? So we got two 85% probabilities, right? With the exact times that we expect them to get hit. Now we can do Globex and settlement. And while we're here, we can look at that low. We can see that that low where Asia OU is has a 35% probability of getting hit, right? So we know that there's no edge really there. And so that supports the low of the day currently being in status, right? So now we're going to come over here and we see Globex open and we see midnight, right? Where are those on our charts? Well, we know that midnight just got hit, so that probability has been fulfilled, right? And we can see that that got hit during the 8 to 8:45 time frame. So that one's out. And we can see Globex open has a 67%, and that typically gets hit between 9:30 and 10:15. Are you noticing the trend? So we're going to come, we're going to put this right here. We'll delete this one, and we'll change the stat to 65. And I'm going to get why this is important and why these stats are adding up together. We didn't have contradicting markets overnight. We had trending markets. So this is something that we call a firecracker. So now the last stat we want to look at is our RTH gap, right? We know it's Friday, and we want to see when 9:30 opens up, the relationship between the open and yesterday's settlement. And we know that if we put a fib and dragged it from settlement to 9:30 open, we'd have a 25, a 50, a 75, and 100%, right? Gap fill, right? And so now we can look at the probabilities, and the proof that we got from the wolf tank today did a great job describing like this edge. We can see that, right? That 50% today, that did not decline. It's 79. It actually increased from what that looks like over 20 years, right? So we know that this has a higher edge of getting hit, right? So now we need to do this, right? If we know this is to happen, we know that, right, this can happen because this is our 7:30 to 8:30 box, right? We know that there's only 4 possibilities that we can do from here. We can go down into 11:30 and keep going down. We can go down net over one of these probabilities and then go up to make a new higher day. Or we can do the reverse. We just keep going up and we don't care about any of these probabilities. The market is telling us that it cares more about the 15% than the 85. Or the fourth possible scenario is we can go up, make a new higher day like we saw, and then come down and grab them. Now, once we break out of this directionally, right, we will be able to delete 2 of the possible outcomes, right? So let's say we go short out of this 7:30 to 8:30 range first. We know we'll come down and we net, or we are selling off, and the 615 is the high of the day, right? We go a lot more detailed into this process in the boot camp. So if you want to learn it, join the boot camp. But I'll tell you this right now, based off of how we break out of that range, right, will determine my actions, right? But the one action I will tell you I will do is I will do something called the 4-step reversal, right? To lock in that major pivot, since we know that major pivot typically happens between 9:30 and 10:15, right? So can we get above or below the 9:30? Which one is that showing me? Are we staying above or below the 9 o'clock's 50%? Which high or low does 10 o'clock take out, right? And do we put an instant high or low in the first quarter at 10 o'clock? And then I'll make my decisions off of that. So that's going to be my game plan. I'll wait for us to break out of one side. I know that the false is a higher probability, so I'll wait for the 4-step, or I'll trade with the 4-step reversal, just position size like I should, and go from there, right? I will, if we get a long false, where we go up to come back down, I'll shoot for the extended targets of P12 mid. If we go short out of the 9:30, I'll shoot for these extended targets of P12 mid, or even this Asia OU. But I'll make sure that longer the targets, I'll make sure that I cover the queen. So that's pretty much it. And I'm going to be patient and wait for this to break out of the 7:30 to 8:30 range first and foremost. All right, that's on me. I'll pass back to you, Austin.
Boom. All right. Well, what's up, everybody? All right. So every Friday, I like to kind of take this opportunity to do just from a naked chart all the way to a chart that looks like I'm trying to find who assassinated JFK. All right. So first and foremost, this is the step-by-step process. Okay. So anybody that wants to is curious to see how I do my war game, just like what Mickey just shared here. This is a step-by-step process. All right. So first and foremost, I go to the 60-minute chart, and I want to see, do we have an in-stat high or low of day? But then also, also going into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the later part of the week, I want to see where we at within the weekly candle. And all this does is I want to see, does it make sense that the daily candle could take a weekly high or low today? And so how do I see that? How do I see, like, you know, is it more likely that this high could be taken or this low if we have a pump or a dump? And I just look at the weekly candle. Statistically, the weekly candle creates a high or low Sunday to Tuesday. Okay. Most of the time, Monday to Tuesday, but sometimes we get those crazy bullish or bearish weeks, and Sunday can be the contributor. But the first portion of the week sets the high or low, and then the later part of the week, Thursday to Friday, sets the other side. So we can take a look at the weekly candle right now. And we're in a crazy doji candle, by the way. Tuesday, this is an in-stat high if it's going to be a bearish week, right? And the biggest crux, the biggest weakness for a lot of statistics you'll find is doji candles. I just be honest with y'all. Like any sort of doji candle, like where it's an hourly candle, a 12-hour candle, anything that can be evenly divided to see that first quarter high or low, the doji candle just really messes up and gets you on like to where this high could be the high and this could be the low, and it's a weird out of stat low. And that's exactly what we're seeing this week. This week we have a Wednesday low, and statistically, if you look at the historical data, typically Wednesdays, aren't the major contributor. Can they still be them? Yes. Statistics are not predictions or certainties. They're just showing you what is the more repeatable, higher probable, events. And the higher probable event is Thursday to Friday making, a higher low. And so Tuesday we have this high here. Wednesday we have this low. So there isn't really much significance in terms of a weekly high or weekly low going into Friday for me. So then I go down to the 5-minute time frame, and I want to see what is the high and low, just like we did with the week of the day. The day we have a low at 1810. That's a good in-stat low, so I label it in-stat low a day. We have a high of day at 620. We do not typically make high of days at 620. And so this would be an out of stat high of day. Then I add one extra layer called the daily profiler here. And we're going to add that to the chart right now. And boom, now I have context, and it even prints the high, the current high and low for you. And now I can see, okay, from the context, and you guys just ran through this with Mickey, so I'm not going to go super into it. It's just from the process of elimination, and the reason why I care so much about these lows and highs of the day is because this shows me how the daily candle is most likely going to print. Just like how you watch a 1-minute candle bounce like this. I use this analogy almost every single week. When you watch a candle bounce, doing this, and then it finally closes, that's what we as day traders are trying to take advantage of on the daily candle. And so if we know that this candle, as it's being printed, could have locked in the wick, aka the low of day, well, then it's just a process of elimination. If we're right here above the P12 mid, which is the first half of the daily candle, so if we are above the half of the daily candle, well, then what's the next major time for us to checkpoint and potentially come and either do a wick or come and make the continuation of a body? And that is 9:30, because the 4 major times for us to make a higher low of day or the wick of on top or the bottom of the daily candle is 1800, 3 a.m., and these are just 1 hour ranges, right? So everybody asks me all the time, well, when does it cut off? Typically and generically 18 to 19, 3 to 4, 9:30 to 10:30, market open, and then market close, power hour, 15 to 1600. And so these are just points that we can use as process of elimination. If we know that this 620 current high of day is an out of stat, well, then what statistics and what does live price have to do to get us to taking this new high of day at market open? That's where the next layer comes in. Boom. Daily profiler not only shows us these levels, but it shows us projections based on how we conditionally have moved overnight, and then how we've also moved in the pre-New York session here. The New York 1 is what we call it. And so if I turn off my table here for the midnight snap, we can see we've done an Asia and London, long true none, London short false broken. So all these do is when we pull statistics, right? When you run a statistic of anything, that's just one static number. Perfect example is midnight open. If I pull up the midnight open, we can see that currently in the past 78 days, we've retraced to midnight open 62.3% of the time, but that is a static statistic. It's great to know that historically and in the current market, we still retrace to midnight above, especially above 50%. Anything above 50-50 is great, right? But then conditionally, what specific events happen that lead to greater or lower probability of midnight open? That's what's called a conditional statistic. And so we do the same thing in the overnight session here. We look at Asia and London in specific constants, and we say, okay, well, how we've interacted with Asia and London in the overnight could bleed into probabilities of making highs and lows of days for this specific day. And so we can sit here and see with these boxes that, and this is something I love. I mean, this is like my favorite part about this tool, is I can look in the overnight session and see, are there any highs and lows that could be locked in for the day, not only just in the generic 4 major times, but also conditionally with how we've moved specifically to this daily candle. And so what we're doing is we're aligning historical statistics to the specific day statistics. So we're not just marrying what's happened in the past. We are applying what's happened in the past and then applying it to the live price of the day. And we can see that today, if I zoom in here, we have locked in the low of day for 3 of the 4 major things that the price could literally do, which is a short false, long true, or long false. So let's go a little bit deeper on the long scenario, because we can see, okay, going back to how we've interacted with the P12, if we're above the P12 mid, if we know that this 620 is an out of stat high of day, then one of the tools we have in the pack trade group is the daily levels. That's this indicator right here. The daily levels will show us, you can see these green levels, these red levels, and they're just simple levels backed by numbers. Okay, I didn't write this number in here. This is a calculation that in the past 77 days, we have hit this level 86.84% of the time. Same thing for this one. This bearish level here has been hit 78.95% of the time. So these are checkpoints that price could come to, and then we apply these statistics with logic and context of the daily candle. And so we can see, okay, well, if this 620 is an out of stat high, and we have the daily profiler slapping us in the face saying, hey, man, there's 3 of the 4 potential things this daily candle could do, and we've already locked in the low of day in 3 of the 4 of them. So then contextually, what would make sense, what is the highest probability, and anything I say is not guarantees or certainties. These are just statistics. Statistically, the higher probable movement is now we could come up here going into 930, take this 620 high, make a new high of day around 930 to 10, and you can see this right here. And then we say, okay, once we lock in the high of day, what is the next if-then statement? The next if-then statement is statistically we go false more than we go true, which is this little T right here. See, F and T, F and T. So the false scenario is we come up and take the New York 1 high, and Mickey explained it already really well, so I won't go super in depth. And then the false would be we take the low of this range. The true would be we just take the high and we don't look back. Just a directional day. We take the high, we do something like this, and we just are directional for the day. So what I'm going into the day, and with all that context to be said, my analysis is if we come up here and make a new in-stat high of day, we will be leaving all of these stats below, which would be this bearish level. We still have not hit the P12 mid and the false. We still have previous day mid down here. We have Asia OU down here, but I'm less likely thinking we break Asia today because of how great this low of day is. And so what I believe, if we do some sort of mean reversion off 930, the net, the area that we could just retrace to, then chop around or make a higher low to go higher on the higher time frame, whatever the case may be, is if we make this high of day, then come back down to the downside, my targets for a short below 930 would simply be a false to P12 mid, this box right here. So if you like price levels, it would be if we make an in-stat high of day, then get below 930, my higher time frame or larger targets, whatever you want to call it, my extended targets would be anywhere between 801.75 and the P12 mid, which is 784.25. Now the other side of the coin, the directional scenario, the scenario where we just make the continuation off of overnight and we don't look back. That's the true scenario, which is right here, 1330, 1345. Now, one thing I want to put on y'all's radar, that if you're in the pack trade group or you're about to graduate the boot camp, you guys already know this. For the people that are new here, one thing that I love about statistics is just like statistics show us we mean revert more than we trend, or we have mean reversion, the statistics themselves mean revert. So if you know that something is going to have a 68% probability, you guys can go ask ChatGPT this. You don't have to be a mathematician. Ask ChatGPT, what's the probability of a 68% strike rate failing once, failing twice, failing 3 times, failing 4 times? And what you'll find is typically in data, the more that we go outside the mean of that average, the more likelihood it snaps back to the statistic. So what do I mean by that? Typically we go false, Mickey, correct me if I'm wrong, like 5 times is that the average, like 5, 6
Yes.
times is roughly the average that we will experience back-to-back false days. Something interesting today, if you take a look here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
We have had 6
We're on the
false
max,
days in a row.
and that's the max for the quarter.
Yep. So
Yeah.
one thing that I'm going to be looking at today, just because we went false 6 times in a row, is I will be looking to see if we get above 930. So if we do make a new high of day at 930 and we get above it, I will try to position myself for the potentiality of a true, which would be then the final high of day time, which would be anywhere between 1330 all the way to power hour. So bottom line up front, my trade ideas and my analysis going into the day, with all that to be said, is if we make a new high of day, so for the bullish scenario, if we come up and go long for New York 1 and we make a new high of day, this box that I'm drawing just represents the high and low from 930 to 931. I'll be looking at cash flow targets heavy, and then I'll leave a couple micros on for if we do the mean reversion back to 930, back to the bottom of New York 1 to P12 mid, because that is a very consistent movement. If we get to the upside, I will be cash flow, I'd say medium. Okay, I'm not going to cash flow as aggressive on the longs because I do want to keep more contracts for the potentiality of this true runner scenario, which would then make us come up here and potentially make motivation to either take the weekly open, if not all the way to the weekly high. So that is my trade ideas for the day.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good one for the day.
Heck yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Does anybody, we got 15 minutes till market open. Does anybody have any questions in the chat before we wrap it up here? This is probably one of the longer analysis streams we've done, but I love doing this stuff.
Why don't you tell them what's happening in the pack today on a Friday? Like what we do on Fridays.
We didn't mention this yesterday. Yeah, so on Fridays, in the pack trade group, we do what's called community live trade sessions. So when we have the boot camp going on, and obviously the pack side's always going on, we love to merge the community together on Fridays to where the boot camp members, they're still learning, like in phase 1, they're just learning the basics. Phase 2, they're just tipping their toes into trading and learning all that stuff. And then phase 3, they're solidifying their stuff. So we use Fridays as an opportunity for the newer boot camp members that come in, and then the existing pack members that already live trade. And we tell everybody, like, Fridays are your day to be as dumb as possible. Like, do not be scared to be wrong. Fridays, everybody can come in, share their screen, or if they're can't share their screen or they're busy or they're too worried or nervous, whatever, go into the chats and call your executions and analysis live. Be okay and be okay being wrong. Feel confident in your executions and be comfortable being wrong, because that is what trading is about. And so when you do that with your peers, with people that speak and understand the same language as you, and nobody's sitting here judging you or saying, oh, you got it wrong. Like, we create an environment where once a day, every week in the most volatile period of the day, 9:30, anybody and everybody within the community, outside of just the live traders that do it, can share their screen and just practice, either being held accountable and being on top of it, or if they're wrong, other people in the community can kind of fill in the gaps and correct them. So I love Fridays for that.
Yeah, and that's because, like, at the end of the day, we've established 2 things on this stream: that nobody cares if you make money or not, right? Other than you. But number 2, right? We don't want to create a community where all the pressure is Mickey and Austin. Yeah, like, we kind of run the show, but like, there's traders better than me in there. There's traders better than Austin in there, right? Like,
oh God,
but we want an environment that, like, you aren't afraid to expose yourself and your weaknesses in front of a community, because their intent is to help you get better, right? And to kind of hold your hand and make sure that you get off the launch pad smoothly, right? So that's one of the most important things that we do on the boot camp. Now, a lot of introverts don't like it, but a lot of experts do.
And even the introverts, we bully them until they finally become hybrid introverts, extroverts.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's good. Good way to wrap it up. You got anything else, Mick?
No, man, you hit it.
All right, guys. WP Capital asks, and guys, yeah, ask questions if you need to. Do you pay attention to the initial break balance 9:30 to 10:30? I personally don't. Not to say it's bad. It's just
We pay more attention. We pay more attention to the hours and the 3 hours of that. We have plenty of tools like our false breakout tools where you can customize whichever time-based range you want to use to give you the live quarterly data of if it's working, if it's not. Like we have tools now that are going to be able to show you probabilities of value area high, value area low, POCs from a volume or auction theory standpoint. Right, we've got the tools, and that's the one thing that we do is we want you to be independent. So if that's your niche, right, we have the tools to help you see that and to put probabilities on it and build a trade plan and a workflow around that.
There you go. And we got one more question here by BMB. I was following along with Mick during the daily profiler, marking Asia long, short, true, false, but my filter days was 244 and mix was 34. What could I have misclicked?
You probably forgot to click London being broken. Try clicking London being broken because we broke London at the highest probable time.
Yeah. All right. Think we got it there. Nice. Thank you, guys. You're absolutely welcome, WP. All right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great session today. Do not give yourselves poopy diapers on Fridays because then you got to sit in it Saturday and Sunday, cry and whine while you still keep doing and pushing the can down the road when you can just literally say, all right, it's Friday. Okay, the market doesn't know that today's Friday versus Monday versus Tuesday. It's just another day. It's just another trading day. All right, so don't go crazy. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Stay grinding on your goals and never, ever, ever let anyone tell you that you can't do something they never done themselves. And I'll see y'all later. Bye, everybody.
The only thing that could stop me and me. If you're doing this for the women you losing, do this shit for yourself. I do this shit for myself. They not like us, and they know that. They not like us. We ain't gon' do. They not like us, and they know that. They not like us. We ain't gon' do it.